Hello, welcome back to Our Vision Farm. On today's episode, we are going to be planting some seeds inside of our garden here in the back. And we're going to also attempt to plant our first 1 or 2 fruit trees. Let's see how it goes with our first one. I want to make sure that we do everything correctly, so I want to take my time in planting those. But for today, I wanted to start by planting things in this garden that I have in the back. Right now, it is the largest garden that I have, that I mostly focus on vegetables. And as you can see, I have cleared all the weeds from it. It took me a couple days in a row just working on it and taking my time picking all the weeds. This is also the one where we have the chickens here also helping us with weed control. But I left them a little patch back there so that they could continue scratching that up and tilling the soil for me. But I basically took care of all up here, and it's completely weed free, and that's going to help us see, because we did plant seeds here a while ago. So picking all the weeds before I go ahead and put more seeds in here will help me see where there is new growth from the seeds that we planted last. So what we're going to do here is go in between all these rows where we do have stuff growing already, and we're going to plant things in the space that we do not see anything. So far we have green beans in this garden, peas, we have a turnip plant, a mustard green plant in the back. There's a nasturtium over here growing. This will get huge later on as well. That's pretty much it. Some radishes on that end and different type of beans in general. But we have lots of rows and space open. So what I'm going to do is plant some of the seeds that we had ordered from Little Shop of Seeds. Our leftover arugula. I wanted to plant today some okra. Pretty much the rest of the seeds I had ordered from them that didn't fit in our little planter boxes. I want to plant some sunflowers because those take a long time to grow. So hopefully we don't get any frost and we will have sunflowers in the springtime. Some broccoli. And that was it for now. So the broccoli and Swiss chard should definitely do good in this cool weather. I'm just going to plant the okra, the eggplant, and the sunflowers now because we are in Florida, so we don't experience too much cold weather that will kill that. But if it works out and it doesn't freeze for the rest of this winter, we will have some springtime things. We would already have okra and eggplant established and for the springtime and leading up to the summertime. And these are the big sunflowers, so those take longer to grow. So hopefully we'll have some sunflowers starting this spring. So let's get all these in the ground just to fill up and use up this spot now that I got it nicely de-weeded. And then after that we'll start working on our fruit trees. right, we finished planting most of the empty spots of that garden, so we will see what pops up from there, and we'll just continue building that up. I turned the sprinkler on. The dirt is pretty moist in there already, but with new seeds planted, you always want to water, give it a good watering, so get that germination going. So now we're gonna see what tree we are going to plant first. We're gonna pick some spots in our front yard. That is where I kind of want to start off. We get full sun up there. And also another good thing is when we had meat chickens up there and we were constantly moving them to different spots of the grass, that was already kind of adding fertilizer and breaking up the ground from the chickens scratching on it and eating all the bugs out of it and then pooping on it. So there's already some fertilizer, natural fertilizer in that ground. So those are the spots that we're going to go for planting our fruit trees. But then we're also going to add all the amendments as well. And everything I've learned pretty much from Googling and watching YouTube videos. And I also got some pointers from the nursery we bought our fruit trees from. She gave us some tips about planting and fertilizing as well. So I'm going to kind of combine all the information that I've learned to try to have a successful fruit orchard. And we're going to start with the front yard. When I went to the nursery to pick up our fruit trees, I took a little picture of the notes that the owner had put the information about the tree. So I took a picture of that just so I can pick the best spot for these trees. So we're going to plant the Florida Belle peach tree first. And it says it requires full sun and low chill hours. So that is good for Florida. Right now it is a little bit cooler weather, especially at nighttime, but these only need 230 hours of chill hours, which I believe is anything below 40 degrees. So that is our Florida Belle peach tree. It's self-pollinating, so that is always good. And if we weren't to prune this, it would get to 8 to 10 feet high, but we're definitely going to prune it to keep it shorter. So these are cold hardy as well. Let me see if there's any more information on the actual tag. So these will withstand temperatures up to 10 degrees Fahrenheit, which it will never really get like that low here in Florida. So that is good. It says full sun as well. Yep, that is pretty much it. And then, so this is a full sun. So where do you guys think we should plant this? Okay. And like I said, we want to utilize these areas right here where the birds have been on, because there is less grass there. And then, hold on, Mariah. And it already has some fertilizer. So I think that is a good spot for the peach tree. It's away from all these other trees that we have in our front yard, and it will be full sun. So what we're going to do is dig a huge hole at least 3 feet wide, 3 feet deep, and we're going to kind of dig it in a cone shape. So Mariah's going to get us started. I'll probably finish off the hole when she gets tired. All right, you're going to help finish it off, and then this is a good spot too, because there shouldn't be any roots from all our other surrounding trees. So I'll come back once we have the hole digged. Alright, so these are the things that I've been collecting in preference for planting our fruit trees. One is just some sticks. We bought some rocks from the store. They were on clearance. They always have the ripped open bags of rocks on clearance. We grabbed some of those. These are just river rocks. Not even sure if that's the correct ones, but I watched a video where they recommended putting rocks at the bottom of the hole to help with drainage, and something about also helping with the energy, like the electric energy between the roots and the ground. I'm not sure, but we can always use good draining here in Florida, so I thought I'd just put some rocks at the bottom. Not overkill or anything, but just a little bit. We have some kitchen scraps here. This is probably also overkill because we are putting the organic fertilizer, but I wanted to do this because I actually want to toss in some earthworms into the dirt as well, just to help, because this is what we're working with as for soil. It's very sandy, so the more natural matter that we can put in there, the better. We have some Azomite, bought that in bulk as well since we're going to be planting so many fruit trees. And we got some worm castings. Same idea with actually putting the real worms into the hole where you're putting your fruit trees, but that'll give us a head start as well until the worms kind of start doing their own work with the scraps. And then this is just that same plant tone organic fertilizer. So we're going to add some of that in here. The instructions the nursery gave me was to fertilize 4 times a year. And remember, this is for Florida, so it definitely differs in different states. But for this, since they're 3-gallon pots, she said 1 cup of the plant tone fertilizer and then ½ cup of Azomite. So that is what we're going to start with for the fertilizing. I'm going to actually go find some earthworms right now. Alright, I just found one here. Or I might have broke it. I'm going to keep digging for more. They might be stunted from the cold as well. It was pretty cold last night. We woke up with some frost in the morning on our windshields. Here's an... I see them and then they disappear. That might be the... Oh no, this one's alive. I think they're just trying to play dead on me. So I got 2 here. Have you found any? You gotta dig pretty deep because they're hiding underground. Don't let it escape. They run away fast. Got it? Oh, don't kill it.
This one.
Okay, we got another one.
I saw 2.
Alright, we found another one. I think that is good. I think there's like 5 or 6 in here now. So that should be good for the one tree. It's still a young tree, so I think when it warms up, we'll have an easier time finding them. Alright, let's go back and see how Mariah is doing on the hole. Alright, Mariah dug this all by herself. Good job, Mariah. So I just kind of tested the depth of it. Definitely do not want to plant trees like that, but I'm just measuring it out. And what we're going to do, it's in a cone shape and everything. So what we have to do is add some sticks to the bottom. And we're going to find some leaf mulch, and we're going to put the rocks too. So this will just help. Go ahead and crush it in. Don't fall in. This will just help from the tree later on sinking down, and it's also going to eventually break down into additional compost. So this will just kind of help settle, because when you do bury this tree in there, it tends to settle a little bit over time. So the harder material will help it from not doing that.
Ew, why is it wet?
More. We need a lot more. And more sticks too. Jaden's getting a bucket of our good dirt with the mushroom compost. I'm adding in a little bit of just the native soil, the one that looks a little more brown, not that sandy white stuff. Just adding some in there just to help fill the hole back up. We got a couple scoopfuls of river rocks in there and sticks. And then I'm just kind of getting in there and crushing them a little bit just to help break them down. And then he's going to bring the dirt. And what we want to do is build this up so that this tree, the top of this is going to stick out of the ground just slightly. We don't want to bury this inside of the hole, and we don't want it to stick out too terribly, but we want to let it stick out a little bit. And I think that is a mistake that we did in the past. We would dig our trees in and probably the dirt would come up to here, and supposedly that's very bad and makes the tree die. So that's one thing I have learned, to leave this. You basically want the rootstock to be exposed to the dirt. Right, This is why I told the kids we're probably just gonna plant one tree a day because it's a lot of steps, a lot of work. So we got rocks down there, we got sticks, a little bit of the native dirt. Now we're topping off with the leaves. These are just leaves raked from our yard. If you have already pre-composted leaves, that is probably better, like partially composted leaves, but we're just using some fresh dry leaves from our yard, so we can crush that in there as much as possible. Now we're gonna top this with our mushroom compost garden soil. So Jaden brought me a bucket of that. I don't know if I need this whole thing, but let's see. This will also push down the leaves. Let me pick that bucket up, empty it all out in there. All right. So I'm going to kind of step in there and crush it down some more. You want to remove all of the air pockets. Let's see where we're at. All right, so that is still a little bit low. So we're gonna have to add some more dirt to lift this hole up a little bit higher. I got another bucket of dirt. I'm gonna dump about half of that in. Try to press it in good. I think at this point I will add my veggie scraps and eggshells with the earthworms in here. Making sure the worms got in there. Alright, hopefully they like that. Let me see where the tree is at now. Alright. Put a little bit more dirt just to lift it up a little higher. Alright, I'm gonna get the tree out of this pot and place it in the hole. Before officially burying the tree in there, you want to loosen up the roots a little bit, just to encourage the roots to spread out and to dig deep into this dirt. Because who knows how many years this tree has been in that pot. So you want to encourage it to be free and spread out with all this good fertilizer that we've put in here. Alright, I'm going to stand it up. So at that point it is going to be sticking out of the ground a little bit, which is what you want. So I'm going to fill in the rest of this hole with more dirt and a little bit more of this native soil as well. I'm going to try to avoid as much as this white sugar sand as possible. But so I'm going to do that real quick while one of the kids holds this upright. While I'm filling up with some more dirt, you want to pack it in with your feet. Make sure it's stomped in really tight because you don't want it to be loose at all. I'm actually going to try to dig a little hole so that the peach tree sits in a little bit easier on its own. But I'm going to fill in the rest of this hole with some more of my soil. I'm on like my third bucket of dirt. It's definitely taking more than what I thought. But what I'm doing is dumping dirt and a little bit of the native soil and stepping on it really hard. Going around and around in circles. I'm going to build up another probably 1.5 inches of the good dirt, and then that'll be that. For that, I'm going to add the amendments on top and the mulching. Definitely want to count for the space that the mulch takes as well, because you don't want the top, when you buy your tree, the top layer of dirt right there, that should be a little bit exposed to the elements. You don't want that to be completely buried in. Even with the mulching layer, you don't want it to be buried in a couple inches deep with mulch. So Getting one last bucket of dirt, that should be enough for that. And then I'll add the amendments on top of that. The Azomite, some fertilizer, some worm castings, and then the final layer would be the mulch. And we're gonna give it a good watering, and hopefully that makes the tree happy. As I'm adding more dirt, I realized the hole could have definitely been wider. It's supposed to be about 3 feet wide, but I let my daughter do it, boost her confidence, and she feels good that she's helping out, so I just let her do it. But I think for the next ones, I'm gonna dig it a lot wider than that. The deepness was perfect, but it needs to be a little bit wider. They usually say 2 to 3 times of the width of the pot you bought the tree in is a good width. But that is alright. Alright. Alright, 1 cup of plant tone. This is a 5-ounce cup, so let's do a cup and about a half of these little 5-ounce plastic cups. This is the fertilizer. I personally opted for adding this fertilizer and all of the other amendments on top, so that as you water this, it'll sink down into the roots, and hopefully adding the amendments at the top will encourage the tree to spread out its roots and search for nutrients. I feel like if you add all the amendments and everything right at the bottom of the roots, the tree pretty much has everything it needs. We did add the fruit scraps and some of the earthworms, but it's not like this type of fertilizer. So the roots are going to go searching for the nutrients, and as you water this, if you see I'm putting the nutrients on the outer side, it's going to go down and make the roots spread out. Whereas if you put all the nutrients right at the bottom where the roots already are, I feel like the tree's not going to want to spread out and look for nutrients because it already has them. So that is why I opted for putting everything towards the top right before that mulch layer. A half cup of Azomite. Half a cup is about 4 ounces. So this cup is 5 ounces. I'll do a little bit less than a cup. Worm castings. There's no measurements for this. So I'm just going to sprinkle a couple of cups worth. I don't think the worm castings will hurt it any. If you didn't know, worm casings is pretty much worm poop. So I think it's a concentrated version of compost, because worms eat vegetation and then what comes out is their poop. So it's pretty much straight fertilizer, natural fertilizer. So that is it. Those are my 3 amendments I'm adding up here. Aside from the soil that already has the mushroom compost. Break that up a little bit. Now I'm going to add the mulch, being careful not to bury this part too much deep into the mulch. You want a very thin layer at the base of that root. You want most of the mulch around here to protect the rest of the tree, to hold in moisture when you water it. But the idea is to keep this still a little bit elevated out of your hole. As you can see, it's a little mound right there. Alright, so I am done. All I got left to do is water. Just added 1 bucket of mulch, not too much. As time goes, I will definitely keep on mulching and adding more as we need it, but I don't want to bury it too deep for now. Alright, so we will see how this works out. Hope you Hope you got something out of this video. We are in Central Florida, Zone 9 or 9B, I believe, in DeLand, Florida. So that is how we planted our first fruit tree. This one is the Florida Belle peach tree, and it's supposedly meant for our zoning, so we will see. I'm gonna give this a good soaking, and then probably every couple of days come back and make sure it's watered, make sure it's doing good, and then we'll just see what happens from there. I'm gonna try to get one planted every few days just to not overwork ourselves, because it takes a lot of steps to get a fruit tree planted properly. So that is all I am doing for today. I'm just gonna go ahead and water it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and continue to follow our channel. I will continue to post updates, and we are planning on getting a whole lot more fruit trees to expand, to make this whole area a fruit orchard. So definitely follow along if you're interested in seeing the progress in that, and all our other videos for the farm animals and the gardens as well. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one.